Hello and welcome to Gardening with Ben. In this episode we are going to show you what seeds you can sow in October with the vegetables and what fruit plants you can also plant in October. So stick around and let's see what we're going to be sowing. In October, you can probably think that there's not much to be sowing in the allotment, but in fact, there's absolutely loads what can still be planted this month. And we are going to go through each and everything that you can plant in the allotment and what seeds you can sow in October and what you can grow in your kitchen garden, as well as what fruit you can grow as well. So let's go through the list and see what we're going to be doing this month. So in October, you can be planting your asparagus crowns. These can be purchased from garden centres or online, and you can plant them in the ground and it will give them the good time of year to get established and get going, ready for next year to get those spears for your dinner. Also, you can be planting your broad beans. Now these need to be winter varieties that can be planted that are hardy and can cope with the cold weathers. So make sure if you're planting broad beans that they are a winter variety that can handle the cold and the snow. Next up, you can plant your cauliflower seeds. Now these need to be an all year round variety. These can be started off in a greenhouse or a cold frame, but leave them in there over winter and then plant them out in the springtime. So next up is garlic. October is a great month to be planting your garlic. You can purchase these from the online stores or from the garden centres. Make sure you plant the cloves individually and not as a whole bulb, as I learned from the first year. I thought it was just one bulb that you planted and the garlic grew from it, but no, it's individual garlics. And you can watch one of those on my videos, how to plant garlic as well. And if you plant it in October, you should get a good harvest by July time. So that is the best time to plant it in October. Make sure you've prepared your ground, added the nutrients and get them planted. And even give elephant garlic a try. Now these are massive garlics, so try growing an elephant garlic this year. Next up, you can plant green manure. If you've got some spare beds that you're not using over winter, get some green manure seeds and just sprinkle them over, and that will add nutrients and the food back into the soil for next year, providing good harvests for other crops what you will be growing next year. Try growing lettuce. Lettuce can be sown this month. It needs to be a winter variety obviously, so that it can cope with the coldness, and you could be harvesting that in the springtime. Or also, why not try growing some in your polytunnels if you've got a polytunnel where it's a bit warmer, and you could be harvesting that through the winter time. Next up is onions. Now you can be planting your onion sets this month. They need to be the autumn variety of onion sets that you can start this month. And you could be getting some big bulbs, big onions next year on your plot in July, August time. It gives it that extra bit of time to get going and to get those bulbs nice and big into nice big onions. Why not try sowing some peas? Again, these need to be a winter variety of peas that can cope with the cold weather, can cope with the snow and the extreme climates obviously. So if you're planting some peas, sow those into the ground now. Make sure you protect them from the birds, as birds like to eat the tops off the peas. So sow some peas and get them sown, and you can be picking those early springtime and harvesting the crops. Everybody loves fresh peas. I'm sure you're like me, you don't get them home in time, you end up eating them all down on the allotment or in the garden. Next up is spring onion. If you sow spring onion this month, you could get them started, and then you can be harvesting them in the springtime, hence the word spring onion. So sow some spring onion into the ground, straight into the soil, and you can be harvesting that early springtime. And last but not least, you can be sowing winter salad leaves, a bit like your lettuce leaves. You can sow them in the ground now, and fingers crossed you'll be picking some through the winter and early springtime. Or if you've got a polytunnel again, sow some in the polytunnel where it's warmer, and you should get better crops and be picking more. So try growing winter salad leaves. Next up is your fruit. So what fruit can you sow or plant this month to get good crops next year? The first one is blueberries. You can be planting your blueberry plants this month in October, and fingers crossed you may be picking a few off next year, but possibly better crops the year after. So go and look for some blueberry plants and get those planted into pots and put them into the ground. They need obviously the special soil for them to go into, but yeah, don't plant your blueberries straight into the ground. Make sure you plant them into the special soil and get them planted into the ground. Next up is fruit trees. Now winter is a perfect time to be planting your fruit trees, as this is obviously more rainier season, and it will help the fruit trees take root and get going. You probably won't get any fruit on them the first year, but fingers crossed after a few years you'll be picking delicious fruit from your plots. Now I've got a Victoria plum tree, and that is the best fruit tree that I have ever had on my plot. I get great crops from it and they taste absolutely delicious. So if you're looking for a plum tree, go for Victoria plum. The next up is rhubarb crowns. Now rhubarb is very dormant after October. They should have died back, your rhubarb plants, and they won't be producing any rhubarb through the winter. But it's a good time to be planting your rhubarb crowns, as again it's the rainier season, so they will settle into the ground better, take root and get going. But do not pick them in the first year. You need them to get going in the ground, and however tempting it is to pick them in the first year when the rhubarb's growing, don't. Just leave it and let it take root and then pick it in its second year. So that is what fruit can be planted in October. I hope you found this useful. Remember to click the subscribe button and check out the links below for my website to stay up to date with everything what's going on, and feel free to join my Facebook page as well, where I do live videos and show people what I'm doing. So yeah, thanks for watching, and remember, keep gardening.